Hi, Karthik. Hello, my friend.
E.O., good evening. How are you, my friend?
Doing great. Great to
Hi,
see you as
Karthik.
usual.
My friend. E.O., good evening. How are you, my friend? Oh, okay.
Great
I'm
to
getting
see you as
Hello,
usual.
my friend. E.O., good evening. How are you, my
We
friend?
have sound
Oh,
duplication,
okay.
so
I'm getting Hello, my friend.
is that me?
Can you can you mute something? I think I'm. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I'm.
I was playing the live channel.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. All right, cool. Hey guys, welcome everybody, and another episode of Weekly Squeeze with E.O.Breakers and myself. Hey Amit, thanks for joining us tonight. Um, so I think let's get this kicked off, and thanks everybody. I think I see Hamid and a bunch of other folks on the channel. We'll probably have an interesting session tonight in terms of the game plan for the upcoming week. EO is going to cover some things around cryptos and the impact on the Chinese ban on cryptos. That could be interesting, and I'll be covering some of the biggest risk I see the China market from the China market, and see what we think the impact is going to on the stock market. So let's kick it off. What do you say, EO? Should you want me to cover the China risk and see how the week is going to kind of line up here?
Yeah,
That,
sure.
and
You want to
then
share
you
the screen, and then I'll jump in on the
can,
later.
okay, perfect. Hey, Silver, thanks for joining. All right, so the guys, reading some of the new stuff over the weekend, I think I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention. This week is the biggest risk that I see, and I mean, I'm not sure if this is a black swan kind of type of an event, but I think this is something to keep on back of your radar in terms of something that could affect the U.S. markets. So far, they have not, but this could potentially have a big impact. I think I think everybody is watching this stuff is the China Evergrande real estate debt debacle. If this could have a big impact, and if China slows down, does it have an overall impact on the overall markets? Right now, I think stock markets really, they don't really care at this point in time. Should you? I mean, I'm not joking here, but I think you should just keep an eye on this news event that could have a big potential impact. Maybe a Lehman type of an event that could happen, but keep that on the radar is the way I kind of want to chime in there. And I want to give you some background on what's going on with that market. Um, I think there was some coincidentally they did ban some crypto activities as illegal. Um, I mean, I know there've been some information around floating around on that aspect as well that EO may cover shortly on the crypto side. But what I would like to address is the Evergrande debt. I did pull up a few things here for you guys to take a look at or consider. Um, uh, from a what could impact us, right? I mean, that's all we care about. uh, the question on the debt is they did miss a payment last week for the US bondholders to the tune of close to 100 million, maybe like 86 to 90 million dollars. But the question more is, will China bail out, right? Or will let it fail, right? Well, let the Evergrande fail. I don't know the answer for that question. We'll probably see what kind of effect that can have. What are the aftershocks, and how is it going to affect the rest of the world, especially the U.S. markets? And as of right now, uh, the markets really don't care, right? I think, as I said before, they missed the payment last week. They entered into a 30-day grace period. What that really means is, in the last week of October, if this bond payment has not been met, they will be in default on their debt, right? They do have certain uh, Most of them are, I think you'll see here right now, I think let me scroll down here a little bit. So you see that on the chart here, most of the debt relates to US payments. So the black portion here, right on the charts, the black portion below is the amount the Evergrande owes to bondholders outside of China. You see a lot of blacks in here on these charts. Those are all the amount owed to bondholders outside of China in US dollars, meaning
Okay, we can't see your screen. Can you share your screen if you're sharing something?
My bad. Give me 1 second. I thought I did share here.
It's still showing my chart, but just add yours to the screen.
All right. I apologize. Can you guys see my chart now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Sorry, guys. So here is the chart that I was looking at from a portion of what the bondholders outside of China is. The black portion here is the amount the Evergrande owes to bondholders outside of China in US dollars, meaning these are like foreign holders who are holding the Evergrande debt. I believe they have like almost 800 properties that are in construction or in work in progress, and in around 200 cities in China. So that's Evergrande is kind of a bigger player in the market. So this could have a waterfall event kind of thing that could potentially impact if the Chinese government doesn't step in and kind of bail out these guys. But who knows what's going to happen? I mean, with the China, a lot of things can happen with the Chinese market and those kind of leaders in China. So what I'm trying to say is the pink portion is basically is the amount the company owes to Chinese bondholders, right? Like you see the pink things in here. So this is pretty smaller amount compared to the black portion below, which is the amount owed outside of China in US dollars. So that's kind of the biggest component of it. So all these questions around the news event you may be observing is the real estate sector in China large enough to cause a global problem, right? I mean, that's kind of everybody's kind of question. At least my question I'm thinking about is like, will it have a bigger impact and will be a global problem? The short answer from my point of view is yes. The only reason I say that is some of the things that I look at over the weekend. You look at the Chinese housing market here, guys, compared to the US markets here, right? It's pretty small. The Chinese housing market is pretty significant compared to the GDP. It's like almost 35-40% of the China housing market is of the GDP is housing in China, compared to like US housing kind of is not really kind of comparable, meaning in terms of the housing market has a big impact in China. So this could cause a bigger crisis and may have some unintended consequences. With that said, normally in the US, like you guys all know, what happened during the Lehman crisis, right? In US, when a credit crisis is looming, banks generally tend to tighten their lending practices, right? Which means credit is harder to get, which means a slowdown in growth. When what happens when slowdown in growth hits, like a market in China, that could have a bigger event across different sectors, including stock market and the bond market. Right now, we don't see bigger impact in the US markets, at least the way I see it, compared to where the market has shot up from last week after the Monday's downturn. But I think the West, meaning the US markets, is betting the Chinese will not allow their banks to tighten their lending because they can't afford to have a lower level of growth, right? These guys the leadership can kind of step in and force the banks to lend. in that way they could kind of ease the crisis in whatever form they want to kind of control the kind of the crisis. Yeah, these are some of the things I'm looking at. I mean, take it with a grain of salt. I mean, anything could happen here. Um, the one simple reason, these are some of the simple reasons, why our markets in US are not pricing the Evergrande news, and we are not kind of thinking of a possible Lehman event in China. With that said, I mean, they banned cryptos last week as well, which I think the way they are thinking about right now in terms of the crypto market is to not let people take the money out of the crypto market and send it abroad, so that they could keep the liquidity within the system. Maybe right now here, you could kind of address what the crypto market is doing and see kind of what you are from your I guess from your perspective, like kind of what your thoughts on crypto market is. Yeah. That's kind of my take on some interconnection between the the real estate market that's kind of happening and the cryptos kind of environment right now.
Yeah, let me talk to crypto market a little bit, guys. So, a couple of things I'll do. I'll share what this China ban means. I also want to share with you guys what I'm planning to do with crypto holdings this next couple of months. So the behavior of Bitcoin trading over the last couple of months now is very much following the price action in 2017, and similar to now, we got China ban news in 2017 as well, around this time, and you typically get 30%, 40% pullback, but generally October and November you do all-time highs, and Bitcoin goes up like goes up to complete like a 200-300% run up, and then it'll roll over and come back down. But so I am positioned to right now, when we get these pullbacks big time, I am loading up on altcoins that are like strong projects, which I think when Bitcoin moves, these things will move 10x and 5x, 10x. And then my objective is to, when we hit the next 2 months all-time highs, cash out and wait in USDC for Bitcoin to pull back, and then convert everything to Bitcoin again during the maybe sustained pullback on Bitcoin, probably early part of 2022. Right now, this China news and other types of pullbacks are very much the same playbook that happened before. This is a pullback and manipulation before a massive all-time highs for before the end of the year. So that's the playbook I am operating by. Now, only caveat to this is if there's a major market collapse because of the Evergrande or anything related to China, no asset is immune, right? I think the money will come out from Bitcoin as well, and you'll see some great buying opportunities. So that's the only black swan event that I can think of that will change the playbook and maybe delay the playbook. But if, let's say, what market is pricing in right now is the direction it's going to go, and we're going to have a green October in the markets. In that scenario, I'm really expecting Bitcoin to start running up soon in the next, 2 weeks or so. Really, we'll probably see a 6-digit Bitcoin, significant move in Ethereum, some of the great projects I shared with you guys. You can see some of them here on the screen, which, projects like Algo, projects like, Luna, Solana, Kusama, FTM, Phantom, Link. Link is like the major oracle for all projects. AVAX environment have a lot of interesting projects. In fact, AVAX probably didn't pull back enough during the last couple of days when we had pulled back on everything else. So if you look at the actual weekly performance of these, you would see that a lot of reds, right? A lot of things pulled back. I actually, during this pullback, I added to my portfolio, rearranged my portfolio to have more of a FTM, Luna. I actually started accumulating Polkadot because there will be some great news in Polkadot coming up in October because they're going to do some cross-chain support, and that's going to just, it's similar to AVAX. I expect a significant run-up. I think Link is positioned for a nice run-up. So I'm excited about that. Let's look at the charts. So let's look at Bitcoin. I think we've been in a range. We are in the squeeze on the daily. It was kind of worrying me around here because it looked like the squeeze would be for the downside. And with this green bar, I added some and then it pulled back. So I still have some US dollars. I'm waiting for this thing. It would be great if it pulled back to, 38 to 40,000, so I can add more. It is possible because you see the momentum wave getting bigger to the downside, and you get like this curvature to the downside on the money flow, but the VWAP is going over zero line. So we may see this thing go up to 45K tomorrow. Kind of follow this pattern that I drew some time ago. We go up and then we pull back again, and then we go up. So we'll maintain this channel until we get, this pattern is kind of 2017 pattern, but I think we're not gonna wait till November. I do expect October to hit the, higher highs, and then end of year really go up to. My target end of year is like somewhere around 85K up here. We'll see. Some things might be moving slower than expected. Just because I'm looking at market cipher, I see this, like I normally prefer to see market cipher like this with a red curvature coming up, and you catch this big move, right? This is perfect. Like this here, this turn indicates we're gonna consolidate perhaps down here, 38, 40K before we have the big move. Like this thing needs to roll down and then make a small red curvature, and we have a nice second half of October that'll get us up here and into November. So that's for Bitcoin. Let me see. Oops. No, this shows this. Okay. Let's look at Ethereum. I was pleasantly surprised with the price action today. We ended up with like 3,100 again. So we have the green dot buy on market cipher. Excuse me. You see how this blood diamond played out so nicely on Ethereum. If you had shorted right here, you had a great trade back into this triangle. I was hoping that we would kind of bounce off the upper range of this triangle and then go up, but it broke down. So it is possible that we continue underneath this upper trend line, and this becomes a resistance now. It's nice to have the green. money flow, VWAP going up, and a smaller momentum wave with a green dot. This is like we could probably see tomorrow. This thing go up to. We're up to probably like 3,200 or something like that, and like I expect this range to get smaller and smaller before we have a big squeeze and then explode to the upside. I'm expecting explosion to the upside, provided that we don't have a market crash on based on China dimensions. Any questions, Karthik? Oh, so China ban. So, guys, comment on the China ban. This happens every 3-4 years, where a lot of China FUD hits the market and it pushes a pullback, and then we see right after big time all-time highs. So I see this as no different. What people don't understand is Bitcoin is a decentralized system. No country can, ban it and actually enforce it. It's just what that's going to happen is the mining equipment and transactions will move outside China, and it'll still be resilient. Bitcoin is such a distributed network. In order for you to really shut down or ban, you're going to have to shut down the electricity of the whole earth. And that's not going to, so I think what comes to understand is, in order for any type of ban to work, you need to have a centralized system, and you need to shut down the centralized owners. And this is not that kind of system. This is a apex monetary system, totally decentralized, heavily distributed. You'll shut down one area, it'll pop up in another area. I think that's the thing about the beauty about Bitcoin is it cannot be controlled by a central government entity, and this is going to provide the freedom to the people and having independence and power in their hands and an individual basis, as opposed to a centralized entity or a corporation controlling it. So that part is totally misunderstood when people react to these bans, by countries or countries saying this is illegal. It'll have an immediate impact when the announcement is made, and you'll get a pullback. But just know that no one can shut down a distributed, decentralized system, especially widely adopted as Bitcoin. So I always laugh at these like bans, because they just do they do nothing. It just makes China weaker for the future monetary system, because they don't accumulate, they don't have the power, they're not going to have influence in the future of a decentralized apex monetary system. So that's good for us. I want more Western countries control, to be honest, the Bitcoin network, than or have more influence and activity than and regime like Chinese or perhaps Russian, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right. Questions?
No, I think that's a good overview on cryptos. I mean, I was a little bit scared in terms of kind of the sell-off, but I think that's a good overview of kind of what we could potentially expect with these kind of news events. I think that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you want me to cover some of the events for the upcoming week quickly?
Yes, please, yeah. And then we go to money calendar.
Okay, perfect. Let's do this. We're almost 25 minutes in here. Let's do this, guys. Some of the market events to watch for the upcoming week. As you all know, it's the end of the month and the end of the quarter. Shenanigans for this week. So expect some volatility in the markets. There are some of the other things. There are a lot of FOMC speakers over the next, I guess, this upcoming week. So keep an eye on some of these guys. Could be market moving. Some of the members that are speaking on Monday, I guess, which is tomorrow. I think Mr. Powell speaks sometime on Tuesday, I thought. Maybe it's Wednesday. I'm sorry. Powell is speaking on Wednesday at an ECB forum. So keep an eye. That could be a big market moving event, 11:45 Eastern on Wednesday. Obviously, there are other certain events in here, so I'll share this link with you guys to keep an eye on. But I use Forex Factory to accumulate this information. Look at all the FOMC guys, Fed Galore next week. So that could be some of the big events. But apart from that, I think there are two other things that I'm keeping an eye on is also this PCE numbers on Friday. So that could be another event, and the ISM manufacturing numbers on Friday as well. So a bunch of things to keep an eye on after a volatile event last week from the FOMC. Could be interesting this week with all the things that are going on in the marketplace. With that said, let's just quickly look at some of the indexes. The one thing I want to keep an eye on is let's look at NQ and ES. NQ on Friday was an inside day. What I mean by inside day is it didn't trade above the Thursday's high or the Thursday's low, so it was an inside day. What that means for upcoming week is if it takes out the high of Friday, I'm expecting some upward price movement. I think that's what kind of is happening on an overnight session. What I was really expecting was to see an eat the tail kind of thing, like you see the tail on Friday. I was thinking the market would come down here, but looks like that is not happening. So an inside day to the upside may test the next levels, say something like this in here around in the NQ around 15,500 level. So keep an eye on that. I think the market is expecting somewhere to move in that kind of range is the way I take the NQ. With respect to ES, let's shift to that. I'll come back to the sentiment indicators, but I just want to look at the chart before I go and jump into the sentiment. Same thing with ES, guys. Inside day to the upside. So look for anywhere between 44.75 to 4,500, the round numbers, psychological levels here to see the price action to go to for a potential turn back down. But as of now, I think I would lean towards on the bullish side. But with that said, I always want to go back to my bread and butter setup, which is my 34 EMA and the waves and all those kind of things. I just want to look at NQ, give my quick overview on how you guys want to play this. If my charts can quickly turn here, right there, okay. So if you look at my charts, I mean, as you all guys know that I use this 34 EMA kind of indicators on these lines in here, and then the indicators on bottom here where it's like the 8, 13, and 21, and the wave itself has turned sideways, meaning the market has turned, like you see the red candle in here on Monday, that turned the market into a distribution market. It's not anymore a double green environment where the sentiment and the trend has changed a little bit. So with that said, you know, the trend is higher. So anything at these levels in here, I would entertain to the long side, and anywhere here, I would entertain to the short side. So look at the oversold levels in here and the overbought levels up there. So that's kind of the way I focus on. But right now, personally, I'm keeping an open-minded in terms of kind of keeping my trades very nimble in terms of my day trading setups and just playing the day trades and managing my day trades accordingly. So I don't have any big oversized positions in any of the sectors except for financials. But from an NQ standpoint, so keep an eye on this just to play and stay nimble in terms of kind of a long bias and from a directional standpoint. So that's my NQ and ES. Let's just jump into quickly on the sectors that we looked at last week from a few other things that I'm watching. Look at NASDAQ, right? I mean, we all kind of saw what happened with NASDAQ at the overbought levels. This is the sell zone levels for me. And right now it's right here at the neutral zone, right? Nothing to do for me from a sentiment standpoint. Same thing with ES. It did get oversold buy zone right here last week. So you did get a clear indication in terms of kind of the oversold level and back into neutral territory right now, right? So I would be careful to kind of do anything here. But we could kind of play this accordingly in terms of pick any specific sectors or specific stocks that you want to play in. Let's just look at a few other things here as well, like every week that we do on crude. Right now, it's interesting. Crude is coming back to the overbought territory at this zone here after being here last week. So, I mean, I'm bullish crude from a macro perspective, but we could really get a kind of a downturn in crude with some numbers that I'm watching from a Fibonacci perspective. So keep crude on the back of your radar to see if there's a potential short from a crude standpoint. But the sentiment is getting to an overbought level, so that could kind of cool off here going into next week. The next one I do have is gold, I believe. Oh yeah, right there, gold. Again, gold almost at the buy level here. So look for, I think the markets are up $7 on gold overnight, but see if you get some little bit more pullback in here to get to the long side, anywhere between 1750. I would kind of entertain a long on the gold markets if you're trading gold. The last but not the least,
Karthik, you have a question on the crude. I don't know if you answered that.
Yeah, I will address the crude. Give me 1 second, guys. The last but not the least is the bonds. Look at the bonds last week after the FOMC meetings. Looks like they kind of sold off, and it's still selling off. No, I guess it's slightly positive for the overnight session. But you know, is it a buy signal here when it comes to this zone in here? The answer is yes, but just be aware that this bond could effectively move your big tech like Amazon, Facebook, Google, and Apple too. So watch the interest rates and bonds going into next week, and that could have a big impact for the upcoming week, guys. I think that's kind of what my take on some of these markets. Let's quickly look at crude, Anil. Let's just give me 1 second. Let me share a different view of my screen in here. All right, my harmonic screen. I was looking at 74.90 level to kind of to short. I've not shorted the market yet because I didn't get a signal yet on my 1 hour time frame that I generally look at, which is in here. This is the level that I marked off. You see the ABC kind of pattern here, ABCD kind of pattern, which ends at 74.90, but I don't have any ready aim fire signal firing to the downside. So I'm just still waiting and watching, but 74.90 is kind of the level that I was watching to get short, but looks like the market has not kind of given me any green signals to go short. So keep an eye on this ready aim fire pro signals on the short side. But looks like it's past this 74.90 level at this point in time. So hopefully that helps, Anil, on the crude. I know that there's no signal yet, but since it's moving up, I don't know what kind of where it stalls, but this is the level that I was watching. So the last thing I want to touch before I turn on to EO on the money calendar is the sector sentiment. There are a lot of signals in here, guys. That's very interesting. Look at basic materials is in the buy zone right here. Mining is in the buy zone, right? And utilities is in the buy zone. You know, a lot of things are looking good. Industrials, for example, is in the buy zone. And also the healthcare too, right? The XLV sector, the sentiment is like on the buy side. So there's a lot of things are looking good here on the buy side. The financials have turned up. It didn't actually touch the oversold levels, but I think it's turned up right now. So let's see how that plays out. It's getting interesting in terms of certain sectors. Semiconductors is neutral, and XLK, which is the Apple and Microsoft, are almost in the buy zone too. So with all this said, I mean, there are a lot of things we could kind of keep an eye on in terms of how to play this in terms of the sectors and the index sentiment. So I'll keep a close eye on this, on these things, and see how we can take advantage of these markets and trying to stay nimble as much as possible. Let's take a look at the money calendar. I mean, Leo may have some insights on some of the things that he may look at. Let me shut my mouth here and pass it on to Leo.
All right, perfect. Let me see. Let's share. Take a look at the money calendar. So as you guys see, September, last week of September, we start the green days. We're kind of the pain of September, guys. When we discussed this second half of September, I don't think we kind of anticipated the level of pain it would cause. And, you know, really starting second week of September and what we experienced. So these, as you guys know, the money calendar has been pretty good. Like every time I question it, and then it ends up happening. So like taking against the position against the 10 years of patterns, consistent patterns, it never worked. So like our caution actually helped us out. So starting this week, we're seeing greens, and actually let me see. I'll show you the October. I think I showed this last week. Look at this, guys. It's all green. So if this is indication of what's to come, you know, I'm starting slowly scaling into some long positions. I got an Amazon long position just based on market cipher, not necessarily money calendar. But I might look at the stocks that are in those sectors Karthik just covered in terms of buy zone. I think we'll look at industrials as well. Let me see. Let's just go back to 27th. What do we see on the money calendar in terms of power meter? So basically, money calendar shows the last 10 years of patterns, and look at this. SMH gets into the buy zone. Netflix, 9 out of 10 years. Although I wouldn't do anything with SMH, it does have a recent year not following the pattern. Let's take a look at Netflix. Yeah, look at this. So historically, if you bought Netflix tomorrow and exited on October 5th, your average trade would make almost $7. You would make as high as $59. So this is kind of like the pattern I'd like to see, an increasing amount of profits in a pattern that worked last 10 years. So, and this is even better that, the last negative year for this trade was, 10 years ago. So this trade has been working. So we should take a look at Netflix chart, Karthik. Let's put that on the list. We'll come back to it. Let me see what else is for tomorrow. Anything interesting here you guys see? Oh, Apple. Apple is here. Apple is looking really good as well. Like, this is also a very old drawback. Consistently profitable last 9 years. Again, entering a buy on Apple on September 27th and exiting October 25th. You would be profitable. On average, you would make $2. You could have a max profit of $20. So Netflix, Apple, we're gonna have to look at these money calendar charts. Let's just keep going in a fast way, and then we'll take a look at these. FedEx, interesting. I wouldn't do anything on FedEx. You have a very recent year drawback. Okay, let's look at the Tuesday trades. I'm just picking some big names that we can actually take a look at the charts consistent with money calendar, and it may give us some trades. Look at this chart, Karthik, LRCX again.
That's
great.
Yeah, that stock's been on your calendar forever, though, with the power meter so high. So it's crazy.
And every time we ignored it, every time it had worked. So I'm writing this down, September 28th, November 8th. 100% accuracy, which means last 10 years, every time you did this trade between these dates, you had 100% win rate. Average trade made $17. Max profit, $76. You did have some drawdowns in between, but you always finished in profit last 10 years. I'm adding that to the list. CMG, this is a bear trade, 90% of the time. There's another 100% here in E, but it's 30. Netflix is still here. We should do something on Netflix. JPM is here, 9 out of 10 times. JPMC, I wouldn't take it. Recent negative year. FedEx, we looked at. SMH, looked at. Citigroup, not negative year. I wouldn't do it. Visa, that's negative power meter. Anything else you see here? Walmart, nope, lower power meter. Let's look at the next day. So far I have Netflix, Apple, LRCX. Let's look at Wednesday. Anthem, so it's healthcare insurance. I wouldn't do it. There's a negative in the last 5 years. NVIDIA. All right, 9 out of 10 times this Wednesday. It looks okay. It's not the best, but it is consistently going up profits. So let's add NVIDIA. That's September 29 through October 7th. So we'll look at a NVIDIA chart as well. Is this square or is this something else? Oh, this is something else. Goldman Sachs? Nope. That's it. Let's look at Thursday. We're almost done. Ooh, it gets green. More green, guys. towards the end of the week. UNH, this is Henry's favorite stock. It's okay, it's not exciting. What is this, BlackRock? What is BLK?
Yeah, BlackRock, yeah, I think.
Yes. Let's look at Friday. We have a few slides. I mean, a few stocks. We can see if there are squeezes on these. If something aligns perfectly, then you have an opportunity. Wow, LRCX all week, all 100%. This is straight. This is awesome. All right, guys. Goldman Sachs, 100%. Starting Friday. All right, we're adding Goldman Sachs. Starting Friday, October 1st till November 1st. Okay, that's 100% rate. So last 10 years, if you bought GS on a Friday, this Friday, and sold it on November 10th, you made on average $10. Your max profit was $30, and the pattern looks really good. Okay. All right, Karthik, what do you think? Should we pick on some of these charts, or do you want to share something else first?
No, I think most of the things that I had have been shared. I think what we want to do is get your views on just the overall markets, and maybe we pick like two or three stocks on this list that we made right now, and take a look at them and see how we need to attack them the upcoming week. I like Goldman Sachs going into earnings next month, so maybe we can look at some financial sectors and some other stocks that we kind of made a list of.
Yeah, so let's take a look. SMI. I'll do a little bit of market view. You guys know I had put this chart together a long time ago. We're kind of, remember how we kind of predict these pullbacks? Every like I put this, every single one of them hit. so if you guys want, look at this. Market Cipher is giving a buy signal on SPY. Karthik, this is a daily buy with a VWAP going over with the green money flow. That's perfect. So if we duplicate this, if we clone, actually, this is not what I wanted to do. So if you, yeah, that's what I want to do. So went from here to here, right? That's the buy signal. The same thing will happen here. So we're gonna, obviously it repeats itself, but so buy signal here. So it'll be a kind of, we could see a target of 459. But right now, obviously, if you look at this, it needs to break this upward trend line on the daily. So if you go from here, like this one here, you want to see this above this. It could also roll over, right? But according to Market Cipher, it's not going to roll over. This thing has a little bit of ways to go to the upside. You have at least a few days of upside here, perhaps tomorrow, and then we'll see whether we stay kind of inside day or we kind of go up and test over here. So that's SPY. Let me just see weekly if SPY looks pretty, bearish. So if you look at the weekly chart, yeah, I mean, every time we hit this yellow line, right, we kind of bounced off from this and had a rally back up to all-time highs. So at least in the recent past. So we just need to see. We need to see a breakout of this trend line. Once we do that, we would go back to probably 380R again from this median. That looks good on the weekly scale. What doesn't look good is market cipher, VWAP, still pointing to, like, we want this VWAP to turn. It looks like it might, but still it's a pretty sharp. So it has to be doing this week. If it does, then we're gonna have a move like this. You came in, boom, you went up. You came in, boom, you went up. You came in, boom, you went up. So this time the price action is more similar to this. So we may actually do this, come back up, and then pull back again. So that's kind of what it looks like to me. Let's look at NQ. Yeah, I should look at this with the markets, the Fibonacci candles. Yeah, NQ looks like a positive week is coming, unless this thing rolls over here, but it looks like it's gonna point to the upside, to the zero line. It's all money flow green, guys. We'll see how this goes. That's weekly. Let me see if daily. Yeah, daily NQ. We had a buy signal here last week. VWAP crossed over. Money flow. This green money flow needs to bounce off here as opposed to going down. In that scenario, we would go. We'll see. So we have a day or two to see how NQ will behave. I typically don't like the money flow coming down like this because it typically indicates we will roll over here and come down and do a double bottom before we go up. So that would mean like the market cipher would come up here, and then we make a smaller wave, and then this thing makes a red money flow, and then you'll have a trigger by. But we'll see. I mean the squeeze looks negative too, but so I don't know. I have an Amazon position, or maybe if we get a good positive day tomorrow, I might need to take profits and then wait for a better entry. I don't know. What do you think for NQ? My views on the MC. I don't know how you saw, but it's still a little bit of risk, Karthik here.
Yeah, I mean NQ. I think looks like. I mean, a lot of things can happen this week. With that said, I think at least for tomorrow, looks like it's pretty bullish.
Like let me show you guys. It looks very much like where we are here. So like Bruce always asks me how I do this patterns. So I'll show you guys, and we can see if this will work. Obviously, there's my pattern tool. So if you look at this, here we have like how this green coming here and the VWAP coming up. We have this exact scenario, and we had this move here, right? So something like this. Yeah, something like this might happen here, okay? Yeah, so you have this sideways move, couple of days, and then you go up. Wow, that's crazy if that's the case. I will just save this here so we can monitor. Again, this is how I use market cipher to kind of predict a little bit of price action just based on similarities of the current momentum and money flow with the past behavior of the particular equity ticker or index. And it's typically, it works very well on indices.
Yeah, it's amazing that you could predict predict those levels. I mean, that's why kind of I want to listen to you every week, but I can't predict more than a day, you know.
Yeah. Now, it may not perfectly do this, but there is a good chance this wave is going to do this.
Yeah.
Get this new all-time high. That would be a blow-up top, guys. And I think after this, there's a good chance there's a crash. Anyhow, so let's save this. You have this because we can always. This is what I like about TradingView. You can just play these and then see how this move.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Week by week. Anything else? So we looked at NQ. We looked at SPY.
Okay. Look at Goldman Sachs, if you don't mind, with the financials and bonds and all those kind of things I'm looking at. So that could be interesting. With the earnings coming up too. So.
Okay. So Goldman Sachs. I always like to start with the weekly chart. All right. So what I don't like. So remember, on money calendar, Goldman Sachs is 100% on Friday. So you have one more week of negative on Goldman Sachs. So Friday is your possible bottom. If you look at this Heikin-Ashi candle, so we'll probably hit. So this hit all the way down to 372. You could be all the way up to 393, and you would still be on a downtrend. So it may actually. You may complete this at 393 and you have your up move this week. So it is a possibility. So, but that, like green to red cross here, weave up below zero, green coming down. You have a momentum wave with a red dot. This is a sell signal on weekly. It kind of, it has a potential to be, we don't have an X here, but we'll see. If we get an X here, you may have more drawdown. Because this ADX is 45, it is going into a higher compression. So it'll consolidate here. All right, that's good. So weekly perspective, I think this may be hitting a support zone.
Yeah. Can I ask you what was the expected profit you could make on this one? I mean, 400 is a psychological level that I'm watching at the Voodoo Skyline around 401. So I'm not sure what the money.
All right, so the high end was 30 points. Low end was 10. On average, was $10 profit. So so 390. Actually, where's my Fibonacci? Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, we're not going to hold through the earnings, though, right? I mean, earnings coming up first week in October sometime.
Yeah,
right?
this is the problem with money calendar trades. Like,
yeah,
earnings in the middle of it, you can't do the trade that they're suggesting.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. Yeah, this thing could hit like easily 400, and it would be still on the downtrend.
Exactly right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so it's not the best chart, to be honest, but you do see that we bounced off here. You have VWAP crossed over, and you have a green buy signal. So this looks very much like, let's look at where it looks like. It's a little bigger than this wave. Oh, it's like this wave here. So I'm just looking at it. It's like this wave here, but unfortunately, this is a curvature that's perfect buy signal. We don't have that here, not yet. This needs to come and make that buy signal this week. This is daily chart. It's very well possible. So we could have a really good buy signal here. This goes into the red, which means like this thing rolls over for a few days and sits on the 618 level, which is 376. Where did it close? 390. So this could be a double bottom buy opportunity, like at 376 to 380, pull back, and I would, consider a buy for a $10 move. Well, actually, you could probably predict $20 move from that point. A pull back to 376 is a buy for GS. I think it makes sense with the squeeze fired and kind of consolidating here. You get sideways this week and sideways to down. That's kind of what I'm guessing.
Yeah, no, that's I agree with you. I think we have an inside day on Friday, so anything about 392.50, I would be a buyer back to 400 level. So at least for a couple of days of trade is what I'm thinking.
So in fact, I'm going to put it here as a buy zone right here. All right. Buy zone. Say 380. Okay. I doubt it'll come down to 376, but it's possible. Buy zone, and then if we kind of have the similar behavior as this, you get a small buy here. You could get a move like this. Actually, let's do this. Let me show you. So you could get something like, it's really like something like this for this. So you get it pull back. I don't know, something like this is possible. It's not perfect, but it's going to do this kind of come down, test our buy zone, do a W, go up. Okay, I'm going to save this so we can see where I'm full of shit with this stuff. All right. Do you want to take a look at NVIDIA?
Yeah, I could. Let me share my screen here.
Yeah.
All right, NVDA. I mean, on a yearly basis, if you look at it, this stock has been doing crazy in terms of the performance. A narrow range day on Friday. I mean, it's long for me, but if the market turns down, this could have a big impact. If the market turns down, this could go back down, but I think right now I would buy it about Friday's high and see if you can take some profits around somewhere around 225-ish. I mean, another $5. I mean, it probably could go all the way back up to 234, which is the fire line. I think generally the price tend to act. This fire line, voodoo fire line tend to act as a magnet. So 235 would be before the earnings. I would think we could probably get there. With Radium 5 Pro as fired last week, it could kind of significantly go up to the upside. But with that said, if the market turns down, this could be one of the stocks that could pull down heavily in terms of the downturn, because on a year-to-date basis, I think this has been almost up 60% or something. When I was looking at before I hopped onto the call, but could be interesting to play this up to the long side. Is my take on NVDA.
Let's see.
I don't know, folks, if you have any questions, or if you guys want us to look at any specific stocks, please type in your questions. We could kind of address those things as well.
All right, let me take a look while they are typing. Let me take a look at NVIDIA as well very quick. Let's see if we see something. See, this was one of our old trades that played out perfectly. We did this W and I hit that part.
I remember that actually when you drew that.
Yeah, I drew that. Like, it's still on the chart. So look at this, guys. So we have a squeeze here forming up, ADX 23. We have it. This is not a trigger wave buy, because we're kind of going from small to bigger wave. But it is, compared to previous waves, we're getting smaller and smaller. So it's positioned like this was a better buy than this. But this is a buy signal. So we may have a small move to the upside, perhaps like, $7 move. This is on a daily chart. Let me see if weekly supports that conclusion. Actually, weekly doesn't. So I think if you look at weekly, we are looking like we're going to do this and then go like this. Okay. So look for pullback to, what did we close at? Did we like 217, 216? So we could pull back to, guys, 208 to 210 before we go up. I don't know what date I said, September 29th. So we have 3 more days. So this week we may have a pullback. And then towards the end of the week, perhaps an opportunity to, if we go, if we pull back to 210, I think this is a buy the dip kind of situation. All right. Let me do Netflix, and it would be good to get your views on Netflix, Karthik. Let me see. Oops. So weekly looks like we may get a pullback, although we did a squeeze fire on weekly. I kind of missed the Netflix move. This was like a perfect weekly squeeze example, right? Let me see, 3-day, looking good. 2-day, looks good. So we may have we're going to get smaller. I don't know. I'm not so crazy about the Netflix chart, but it is on the median and support. And the money flow is turning. You may get a small wave and a bigger wave. So it's not the best setup. So I probably wouldn't entertain this until better price action. Let me see the 4-hour. Yeah, it looks like all of this will turn. So we will have some pullback on Netflix, according to Market Cipher. What are your views on Netflix, Karthik?
My quick take on Netflix, guys. I'm bullish. Look at this double green, right? It's you can't blame the charts. The price action is pretty bullish. It had a nice price move, pull back to say like 30, I think around 38% fib level. Probably the pullback is support right here at the Voodoo skyline, back above this Voodoo skyline. I think I'm still thinking the price action to all the way back up to 617, 620 level. It almost touched here the Voodoo fire line, but not really up there. But I'm expecting it to go back up there, but wait for some pullback to 580 level to pull the trigger. 580 I would buy and see what happens. Risk like a couple of points in here to below 575. Risk $5 to make a significant jump here from almost 592 to 620 level. That's kind of my take.
Can you also look at Apple? Because we had Apple on the list as well.
Yeah, Apple is interesting, EO. I mean, let me just pull the chart up. It's definitely been lagging the markets. If you look at Microsoft or any other big tech stocks, Apple has been lagging the markets. So the question is, are you going to entertain long here? With certain events may pop up in October in terms of introduction of their MacBook Pro and other kind of computers. This could potentially get a rally up based on the events. Right now, it's at the buy zone. I think we could kind of entertain to the long side in here. Obviously, where the Apple goes, the market can kind of go in that direction as well. But ADX is red and just about 20 here. So wait for some pullbacks, maybe like 145-ish or something. Yeah. Pull the trigger on from an Apple, and then the risk pretty small in here, just below something like 143 or something to that effect. But we do have some buy signals on the Radium 5 Pro. considering it's a sideways market, all my signals, wait for the sold zones somewhere around here, around 140. Yeah, like 145, maybe a good level to buy is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I agree. I think I was looking at like 141.58 is a good buy.
Yeah.
It looks like looking at that, if I show you on Market Cipher. So I think we're going to have similar like these moves. You see how we got red diamond across, and then you got this pullback. Red diamond cross, you got this pullback. Now we have red diamond cross, so we'll have that similar pullback. So I think we're going to see something like this. I'll do the pattern. Something like this. Right, so now you got the red diamond cross, and then you go up like this. You see the magic, my friend?
Yeah, oh yeah, I love it.
On Market Cipher, and obviously, no one knows the future, right? I'm just looking at based on past historical move. I'm able to do that with Market Cipher, and it's actually amazing how close the action typically goes with those. But sometimes I do make mistakes. It looks like resembling here, but then you look at it, it's not. But its VWAP is turning. So actually, I did this wrong. It's going to be like this, more like this. Yeah, like this. So let me say that. We can always laugh together if it doesn't go like this. All right, so that's Apple. Do you want to take a look at LRCX?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure.
It's 100% trade.
Yeah, we talk about LRCX every week. I don't know. I'm still not convinced of taking this trade to the long side, considering the market's been, you look at the sideways markets. I would rather do like some kind of an iron condor, sell some puts in here and sell some calls in here, at least kind of get some income type of trade in here. I know we talked about sometime last week. Last few weeks we talked about going long, right? It's a big stock. I don't know how the options are in terms of their volume, but there's not much of price movement in the. It's a big stock. We could get trade in for 3 or 4 days, But with that said, would I wait for this breakout to happen and then look at for trades? Yes, the answer is yes. But I would rather do a straight call or anything like that. I would rather sell an iron condor right in here and sell some puts in here to collect some income. That's how I would play LRCX. I don't know if you agree or disagree on that.
I'm just going to look at it. So money calendar says September 28th, which is a few days from now, right? So it's like Tuesday. I'm looking at Market Cipher. We have orange dot squeeze on this, which you could get an explosive move. I wonder how it acted in the past when you had orange dot squeeze.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the market is like sideways forever, right? Is there anything, the underlying fundamentals that we need to look at?
Yeah, this is like the similar pattern is here. So I went like this, and then boom, it started going up. Interesting. So I don't know this stock. It's not my stock. But this kind of behavior exists around. Interesting. So the predictability of this is you have -1 ATR to +1 +2 ATR is always a trade on this. That's significant points of move. Interestingly. Okay. All right. Yeah, we always decide not to trade this. I always forget. Look at it. But the data is there, so interesting. Okay. Did we cover everything?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we missed Anthem. I don't know if you want to trade ANTM, but
Let's take a look. Yeah, it has a very nice squeeze setup on daily. It's got a fire to the upside. This green dot is, is basically indicative of, continued explosive move. So where did it close? 380. So 384 is the immediate target, and then 392 the next target after that. Obviously, MC is very nicely set up. You have a nice curvature to the upside. This is exactly what we want to see on market cipher. So daily, based on daily, this thing is a buy right now. Let me see. Where did we see similar setup? It's kind of right here. You could get this kind of move up. Interesting. So do this. You get something like this. And you hit the 618 level. That's a big move if that happens. Depends on the squeeze firing though.
yeah,
That's it. I don't think that this is gonna do that, but maybe something like this. Something to think about. I'll save this, but I don't, look, it's been in the squeeze so long. When this fires, we're going up. I wonder
yeah.
what global
Yeah.
trigger is.
Yeah, I have nothing much to say other than if it breaks the 385 level, it's probably a buy on the breakout of the downtrending line. I think 385 and above probably is a good buy. With the squeeze on, may probably pop up to 400 level. Is the way I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this. Like last time it did this with the orange dot squeeze going to red dot squeeze with a histogram of the squeeze going up. It was down here. You see? Now we have the same here, Karthik. Orange dot going into a positive histogram and red. It actually did it first here, and then it's the second. And we have the green dot, the same green dot like happened here with the blue triangle. Oh my God, this is like almost the exact same pattern, kind of confirmed. Wow, we could get it. I wonder if we should do a Lotto up at 400. I might do a Lotto at 400 if I can do it. I'm gonna look at this tomorrow.
Let us know. I mean, it's interesting. Was it 90%? I can't remember. Or 100%.
Was actually, what was enter? I have to write that down. So let me see. Let me share the money calendar screen. And we finish up after that. Let me see. This is October 1st. I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, it's here. So, and 90%. Yeah, it did have a pullback year. That's why I don't like it last 5 years, but it's September 29. I don't know. I like the MC setup. MC is pretty good. If you catch exact same kind of pattern with supporting momentum waves, similar money flow positive, and we have the same squeeze pattern. This is like a confluence of multiple indicators. I don't know if you look at RAF Pro and what do you see if there's a RAF Pro buy?
It's not.
It's not? Okay.
Yeah, it's in the overbought territory.
Right. So, I mean, if anything happens, this is a breakout play. Oh my God, look at this. Like on my, so I'll show you. You guys see this? So we're about to break out of this top level.
Yeah.
With a target of 399. That's our 4 hour. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, there's a potential here. Yeah, this thing is good. This is about to break out, guys. Oh my God, we're catching this thing crazy. I wonder if there's option flow. We should check out option flow. This is about to break. This is the daily chart. And we go back up to 400s. That's very interesting.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on. Yeah, it is. We'll keep an eye on any option flows coming.
We got the wrap pro buy signal at 374. If we had entered this here,
yeah.
This is good. This has all kinds of squeezes. I'm going to take a look at this. I will. This is worth doing a lotto trade at 400. That may be really cheap. I'm telling you, that could make a big return.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Anything else, my friend? What do you think?
No, I mean, I think we covered most of the things, guys. I think appreciate you all joining the session. Keep an eye on this biggest risk that I see, which is China, Evergrande, and end of the month, end of the quarter for this upcoming week, along with all the FOMC chuckleheads that are going to be on the TV. So keep an eye on bonds and just play your game close to your chest. I'm trying to keep I'm almost 90% cash. I'm playing nimble, keeping my powder dry for any big sell-off based on this. Any aftershocks that may come from the China event. So I'm just trading nimble and keeping my trades to intraday basis, except if there's any big things like EO has pointed out, like ANTM or NVDA or Goldman Sachs, we can kind of play that accordingly. So with that said, thanks for joining, EO. Please share your departing thoughts, and we'll see everybody next week.
Yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed the session. I always appreciate Karthik's view on the week. It always helped me with my trading. Guys, be safe, be cautious, always position size. Let the trade come to you. I wish you all a great week, great trading week. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Take care.